And I'm just looking for the crash site now. It's pretty muddy here. Very thick vegetations. And it's real rural here. Very peaceful, huh?
Hello, my name is Rami Kafarov and I'm a tourist guide from Oslo. Many of my relatives from my father's side were employed as professional pilots and navigators. I didn't follow my family tradition, but I always was fascinated by small-scale models, aviation museums and air shows. I think because of that I started to visit places in Norway where airplanes crashed. Those were German, English and even one Dutch aircraft. The story of the last one intrigued me the most because of my work as a tour guide. When I first heard about the accident, which happened in 1949, I was in the process of collecting information about Jewish history of Oslo. And it so happened that the passengers of this aircraft were Jewish children from Tunis. That's why it was just a matter of time to investigate the case, and honestly, it was an easy task. Even though many people heard about it, no one knew exact location of the accident. Little by little, I collected information and shared it on my blog. Hard to believe, but a couple years later, I received an email from a person living in the United States. Ephraim was interested in Jewish history and in this particular accident. During our email exchange, I have learned that 3 of his siblings were on board of this aircraft. Soon, we have met in Oslo.
I personally believe that there's no coincidence, basically, in this earth that we live, amongst people and otherwise. So we look at the internet to try to figure it out, how to travel to Oslo, to Hurum, to the place of the crash, and all of a sudden your website came, and it was very interesting that our communication led to some information that you know of the place, and that's kind of like really intrigued me, and I was shocked that somebody really knows where exactly it happened, because on the internet you can see this memorial and it seems just for the average Joe that, you know, in that place certain time happened such and such, but to the exact crash site. Since I was a little kid, I grew up in a house of basically mourners. That my mom, may she rest in peace, and my dad was a very sad people. And I never understood how and why, and I started hearing the stories about their kids and a crash, an airplane crash, a long time ago. And so anyway, it was a heavy kind of upbringing because of that, you know, being in such a kind of sad, continuously, you know, day in, day out, months in, years out, you always hear of that horrible tragedy that happened back in November of '49. And I wanted to come to Oslo for many years, but I never find really the right timing to it emotionally, mainly, you know, emotional reason. Finally I decided to do it, and I'm very, very sad and very excited. I'm not sure exactly what to anticipating to find. I am some kind of maybe running wild with my imagination, but what it's going to be like. But I feel that I'm really blessed to meet of you here and to help me out in this journey, a long coming journey, and I'm sure it's not the end of this journey.
In 1949, an agreement was signed between the Joint Distribution Committee and the Norwegian Ministry of Welfare, stating that 400 Jewish children from North Africa will be admitted to a recovery center in order to improve their health before moving to Israel. The first group, including 200 children from Morocco, arrived successfully, and it was returned for a group including 200 Tunisian children.
Feels like going back in history, just about 70 years ago. I cannot imagine what it was like for my mother and my father, and when the Israeli Aliyah movement started coming to different North African Jewish families who lived in those countries right after World War II, and encouraging to come and live in the Holy Land, in the new formed Israel, which got independent in 48, a year prior to that. Part of that was my three siblings. My oldest sister, Jacqueline, which was 12, and my youngest sibling, Winston, which was 11, and the youngest, the baby, Ephraim, which I was named after, which now I'm the youngest, and I'm on my way to see my young sibling that did not have a shot or chance to have and lived life, and with the capable hand of my friend here, and I feel that I'm doing that trip together with them. So destiny have it that it's meant for me and him to go and see that moment, that historic event personally for me.
On 20th of November 1949, two Dakota aircrafts took off from Tunis to Oslo. First plane arrived safely, but the second one, with 28 children and 3 social workers on board, landed in Brussels for radio repairs, and continued few hours later the same day to Oslo. Because of this delay, the airplane was approaching Oslo at darkness. In addition, it was snowing and visibility deteriorated significantly. Pilot lowered the plane in the hilly terrain and crashed in Hurum, about 40 kilometers south of Fornebu, those days main Oslo airport. At midnight, Norwegian radio announced that contactless plane had been lost and asked for public's help. A rescue operation was initiated, and after 42 hours of searching, the wreckage and bodies were found. The sole survivor, 12 years old Isaac Alal, have survived and stayed in the bitter cold on the site. The victims of this terrible accident remain in our memory as Oslo children.
And obviously when the news arrived back to my family back in Tunis, needless to say how my parents felt. And they still went and immigrated and decided to make their home back in Israel, in Jerusalem. It was horrible tragedy to start with. My mother, may she rest in peace, used to, November 20th, the day of the crash, used to go to the Mount of Olives there for the memorial, only by herself, and for their memories, and to commemorate the anniversaries of every year there. She never allowed me to go with her, or she was very superstitious. It's amazing if you saw the picture of the plane, how the plane was concave itself into the, almost like dug itself into the ground. So we're going back in history here. We got a whole bunch of what the third time.
We arrived. So look, this is a tunnel which we were driving in, and I assume, yeah. So we drove approximately kilometers on this road, turned to the right. So we're supposed to walk in this area.
Mm. It's quite a bit of water here.
Yes, this is a lake, and this is Drammen Fjord. It's another fjord, and this one is Oslo Fjord. So it looks like a peninsula, but it is not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Oslo is somewhere there.
I see.
And when you're coming from Copenhagen, so pass by here.
Mm. So we're gonna go and start to search it right around here.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's go. 1 hour and a half approximately.
The world become to be smaller and smaller and smaller with all the internet. But still, the personalized service they can never replace. I don't care how much, intellect of computers, or, all this technicality, they'll never replace the human touch. I looked at the sign, didn't know what it says.
It's memorial.
Is it?
Yes, it's a sign. It's a single, only sign to show direction to the crash site. Let me go first, I think it's better. Or you like to go first?
Yeah, I'll go.
So you're supposed to follow the path.
Yeah.
But be careful. If you see the wood, walk on wood. No, it's not marked, just walk on it.
Try blueberry, honey.
Oh, there's blueberries. I'm just looking for the crash site now. It's pretty muddy here. Very thick vegetations. And it's real rural here. Very peaceful, huh? Yeah. I got a feeling I'm very close. I'm very close now. I just feel, oh, here's something. Here it is. Oh boy. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. תמצא ברוח שלמה לכל משותף. אחותי ז'קלין, אחי וינסון, ואחי הקטן אפרים, נשמתם על ידי יהותם שנתם כרצו החיים, אחת לפני השכינה.
This route just learned.
No, now it's raining.
Yes.
Finally, thank God, mission accomplished. For many years I had a fear of flying, for many, many years. And I think only the last 10 years probably, would you say, I got over it. But it's not natural for human being to fly. See, when you lose your parents, you lose your past. When you lose your children, you lose your future. תנצבה, תהיה נשמתם צרורה בצרור החיים. So maybe their soul be gathered and the package of the soul that died before their time for eternal life. But it's a very, very emotional when you say that